presume perfection. At least we would know we would survive if we could turn back the hands of time.
Hey weirdos, I'm Ash.
And I'm Elena.
And this is another episode of Quarantined Morbid.
Tonight's episode is a listener tales episode.
And we love to see it.
We do. We
I
just love it.
feel like listener tales are like just they're lighthearted.
They're warm and fuzzy, even when they're about murder or like straight up diamonds. They're warm
Yes.
and fuzzy, and they just make us all feel good during times that are so uncertain. So,
Exactly.
you know,
All right, so should we start?
let's start this shit.
Okay.
Let's do
So
it.
this first one is going to be a long one, but the person that sent in this listener tale put so much effort in. They first of all made a PDF that they shared with us,
Which I
and then
love.
made
I
it
love
look
a
like
PDF.
made it look like a storybook with like Curls MT font and like pictures on the sidebars.
And that kind of shit is like
That doesn't
so
go
above
unnoticed.
and beyond and amazing. It doesn't. It does not go unnoticed.
I
Because
was
we
like-
looked at that and I was like, this is amazing. Whatever this
must
is,
read.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start off. This one's called Listener Tale, The Murder of My Friend, Tracy Lynn Ballard. Or Ballard, sorry. I'm a huge fan. It says, hey ladies, I'm a huge fan and would be honored to hear this on a Listener Tale episode. You can use my name and edit if you want to. This tale is a big ol' bitch. I attached my tale as a
big ol'
PDF
bitch.
file. Technology is a beast. Let me know if you have any trouble or opening or viewing. Thank you guys. I'll leave the rest to the tale. So first of all, check this out. Like, look over the Zoom meeting we're having. Look
I
at
know,
this.
it's crazy.
It's beautiful.
I can't really see. Oh, I could see it when you turned it.
Oh, good. Okay. So it says, hey, weirdos, please do use my name because if my story makes the cut, I'm going to show this episode to everyone I ever fucking met, and I don't want to have to try to convince everybody that I'm the anonymous person who wrote in such a boisterous tale.
Yes.
So, hello. I'm Allie Reese. I'm a 37-year-old gay dude who grew up in a real shit-kicking backwoods Texas town. I came out of the closet to God and everybody when I was 13 and in the 8th grade.
What
Coming
a
out-
badass.
I know, seriously.
Good for you.
Hell yeah. Coming out has the side effect of making you hyper aware of your place in this world and how you fit into it, or sometimes it shows you exactly how you don't. I went from having a community of general acceptance to living in a world of ignorant fucks who suddenly hated me because their sky friend Jeebus told them I was naughty.
I love the way you described that.
I love it so much.
Told them I was naughty.
Naughty. You've actually done a mini morbid episode about a case in my hometown before in a previous episode and described it accurate as fuck when you covered it. I live in Bastrop, Texas. The year I came out of the closet was the same year that Stacy Stite's body was found dumped in the woods.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
I'm just going to skip over a little bit here. Seriously, thank y'all for doing that episode. Not only is that episode how I was introduced to your amazing podcast, but all the media attention leading up to the November 2019 execution date made a fucking difference. It brought all eyes on Texas in that moment, and they knew they couldn't kill an innocent man with the whole world looking at them. They're still trying to, so everyone please watch what happens in the courts. He has an indefinite stay of execution, but they're already trying to fuck him over regarding what judge will hear new evidence and decide if he should get a new trial or not. I protest. Why can't I say that?
I doth protest.
I protest in Bastrop and Austin with Rodney's family.
Oh, that's badass.
I love that. Okay, so this says, let me tell you, you've never met a stronger woman in your life than Sandra Reed. She has fought, never giving up, and then fought more for her son's release, and she's going to keep on fighting.
Oh,
I love that so
that
much.
touches my soul.
Stacy's body was found just 3 miles away from my house I grew up in, and only 1 mile from the small family-owned steakhouse at which I would eventually start working at 2 years after Stacy's murder. The place was called Mimi G's, which I fucking love.
Mimi G's. Mimi G's.
It was my first real job, and this is where my story really begins. Yolanda owned the place, and she and her girls ran it well. It was no secret they had the best chicken fried Yeah, chicken fried steak and bastrop. The fried shrimp was the other staple dish. If you scrolled down to the bottom of the menu, there was a, quote, I dare you to eat section. For being a reputable establishment, I was always really shook we had frog legs on the menu. I thought they were a fucking joke, y'all. Whenever we make the girls dinner and they can't decide what they want, I'm like, you guys want frog legs?
And I know that they think you're joking, and I'm like, no, that's a thing people eat.
I think it's like a delicacy in some places.
Yeah.
I would eat them. People would tell me they taste just like chicken. Fuck a bunch of that. When I got a real case of the Rumblies for chicken, I'll eat a fucking chicken. You literally had to scroll past the chicken section to land on the swamp monster section, but I digress.
The swamp monster section.
Yolanda took pride in her restaurant and was there every night sitting at the cash register with a Virginia Slim 100 pursed on her lips that was always 1 millisecond away from dropping half a cigarette's worth of ash onto the counter. She was in her late 50s, and she followed the Texas mandatory guideline for women's hairdos back then. The higher the hair, the closer to God.
Yes.
Her 2 daughters were Wendy and Tracy, and they were the 2 waitresses. Yolanda hired me to bus tables to make salad bar situation happen. I was 15 and knew everyone on staff from going there all the time as a kid. But this is when I got to really know them, especially Tracy. Tracy was in her early 30s, but was a young 30-something. She cussed like a sailor and wasn't afraid to kick back a few beers during her shifts at the steakhouse. She was tiny, standing at 5'1" and weighing 115 pounds, but was a force to be reckoned with. That reminds me of you.
I love that.
She was stunning, I'm saying. Had a wild side. That's not you. Had a wild side I idolized back then. She loved attention, especially from the men's folk. But at the same time, you could tell she really, and I mean really, did not give a fuck what people thought of her. She lived a zero fucks to give lifestyle. And with my life being so clouded with the inherent shame of being different, I hoped that one day, too, I could run out of fucks to give about what people thought of me.
Oh, I hope you have run out of all the fucks. And it looks like you have.
In parentheses, it says, fear not weirdos. I totally ran out of fucks to give by 17. That's when I became half gay rights activist and half one-man gay pride parade.
Oh,
I'm like obsessed with Allie Reed.
Yes.
Or excuse me, Reese.
I am obsessed.
Love this. At 13, I was either really fucking brave or really stupid for coming out, but either way, the news of me being gay had spread like wildfire, and I was getting beat up at school. I couldn't walk down the hall classes without some ignorant goat-loving person calling me, I'm going to just say the F word. And
yeah, because I hate that word.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
Teachers nor administrators never intervened, even when that shit would happen right in front of them. One time I went to my VP of my middle school trying to get her to do something to make it stop, and her response was basically to ask me what I expected when I decided to live this life.
Oh my God.
I know.
Like,
at some point, when everyone in your world thinks you're lesser than, you start believing the world around you because it's all you know. Needless to say, I was extremely depressed, and I seriously considered suicide. I'm so glad you didn't.
It breaks my heart.
I know. I can imagine.
I hate that that's reality.
I do too. So it says, when I started bussing tables, I'd go straight from school to Mimi G's. And on more than a few occasions, Tracy would find me crying while prepping the salad bar.
Oh my God.
Oh, my heart.
Oh.
She would always tell me, fuck what people think. She encouraged me not to see myself through a lens blurred by others people's skewed perceptions and ignorance, but to picture who I wanted to be and fucking become it. She would drop little nuggets of truth on me, such as, if I stopped agreeing with and believing with what they were saying about me, then it would take the power out of their slurs. She would say, the hard part to do that is you have to believe you're okay. And if that ain't there yet, fake it till you make it, boy. She often accompanied
That's really good advice.
I know. She often accompanied these little life-saving pep talks with a real solid hug. She was the first person to tell me it was okay to be proud of who I was, especially in the face of adversity. She had an adorable little daughter named Haley. I think it's Haley. It's Haley.
Yeah, Haley.
Is that Hallie or Haley?
Haley.
Okay. That would sit up at the counter with Yolanda, her grandmother, and drink sodas when Tracy couldn't find a sitter. Haley was well-mannered and well-spoken for being 5 years old. She had ringlet curls, and you could tell she was going to grow up as pretty as her mama.
Aww.
And I know, in the late 90s, Pepsi had a little girl that was their spokesperson, and Haley looked identical to her.
Oh my God, I remember that little girl.
Yeah, and Allie attached a little picture, and that girl's so cute.
Yeah.
So it says, after working there for the better part of a year, I heard that HEB was having a job fair, and they were paying $7.50 an hour minimum wage. They were paying $7.50 an hour. Minimum wage back then was $5.75 an hour, so I figured if I was making $7.50 an hour, I'd obviously be big ballin' and could finally pimp my ride.
Hell yeah.
A two-door 1990 Chevy Cavalier. Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
I
Calling
think
upon-
John drove one of those cars. That was one of his first cars, I think.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Calling upon some of my newfound confidence, I interviewed like a champ and HEB hired me on the spot. I was sad to leave Mimi G's, but money talked, so I respectfully pieced out of that bitch. I lost touch with Tracy over the years that passed. I saw her when her family would get food there from time to time, and I always got one of those hearty hugs when I did see her. And the next time we got to hang out was on a face-melting balls hot day in the summer of 2006. In Texas, when it gets to be over 100 degrees in the fucking shade, we strategically place ourselves near bodies of water to alleviate dying of a heat stroke, or at least slowing the inevitable swamp ass you accumulate. I decided to go to the North Shore of Lake Bastrop and swim. It was dead that day. I was the only person at the park until I saw a car pull into the parking lot. I was soaking up the sun and playing some sweet jams on my guitar in between dipping in the water, and didn't really pay much attention to the lady that had gotten out of her car and pulled in. She was a few hundred feet down the shoreline sunbathing. When I was headed back to the car, the path to the parking lot led me closer to the sunbathing lady. As I got closer, our eyes met and Tracy yelled, "What the fuck? Was you down there the whole time?" I was really happy to have randomly run into her. She handed me a Miller Lite out of her cooler. After I finished several, she was like, "Shit, are you old enough to be drinking? Your mom is gonna be pissed at me."
Oh my God, I love Tracy.
I was 23, so it was all on the up and up. We spent the afternoon catching up and shooting the shit. I played her my songs I had written at the time, and we killed her 24-pack of her beer. I know, get it. It started getting into the early evening, and she didn't have plans and wanted to keep hanging out. I invited her to come with me to a drag show I was going to in Austin. Yes.
Oh, fuck yes.
She told me she had never been in a gay bar and had only seen drag queens paraded around and exploited on daytime talk shows. She asked if it was allowed to go into the gay bar if she was straight, and it was adorable. We went to our respective homes to get all dolled up. Tracy picked me up around 8:30 or 9, and we went for an adventure at the gay bars in Austin. Once we got there...
Nothing is more fun than getting ready to go to a drag show of any kind.
I've actually never been to... No, that's not true. I saw Trixie recently. But,
yeah.
That's the only drag show that I've ever been to.
I've been to... Because I went to a drag show for my bachelorette party.
Yeah, you did.
And then I also went to... Me and my friend Allie, what's up, Allie? Another Allie. Went to a drag beauty pageant.
Oh, my God.
Where it was called, like, Miss All Seasons. That's what they're presenting for, and it was amazing.
I love that.
And again, I say, nothing is more fun than getting ready for a drag show.
Because anything
It's
goes.
so
You
fun.
can wear whatever.
It does. You can express yourself, damn it.
Express yourself. Okay.
Do it.
Once we got there, I introduced Tracy to some of my friends, and we downed some drinks. Soon, we were shaking our asses to the club tunes of 2003, in quotes,
Fuck
in
yes.
parentheses, probably fucking Sandstorm.
Oh, probably? Definitely Sandstorm.
That's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the night.
That's the first thing that popped in my head when he said club tunes. I was like,
I
Sandstorm.
love it. Gay bars tend to
I will
have...
do that to all of you.
Gay bars tend to have a heavier-handed pour. So true. So by the time the drag
Love
show
that.
was starting, we were socially lubricated.
Socially
crying.
lubricated. Love it.
One of the queens was doing a Janet Jackson number, and Tracy was loving it, so I gave her $1 to tip the performer. She sheepishly held out $1 at the edge of the dance floor until Miss Goldie Haynes high-kicked her way over to the $1.
Yes.
She took it from Tracy, gave her a big old kiss on the cheek, and tucked the $1 up under her chicken cutlet titty and went on with her number.
This is literally the greatest story I've ever
It
heard
really
so
is.
far.
We had to read it.
We have to.
All the hugs and encouraging words she had given me when I was down had all led to that moment that I was dancing with her in her very first gay bar. Tracy had a blast that night, and so did I. I was thrilled to get to show her the happy and confident person I had grown up to be, in no small part because of her. Driven be pure coincidence or some sort of fate, I'm so happy our paths crossed that day at the lake because this was the last time I would ever see Tracy alive. Oh, I just got chills. I've already read this and I got chills. So sad.
Oh no.
For no other reason than life happening, I didn't run into Tracy over the next several years. In the summer of 2009, I was unpacking my car from a 5-day trip to the Texas coast when my mom ran to the front door and yelled, "Get in here, quick." I ran inside where my mom was standing.
Oh, no.
I know, I'm gonna cry. I ran inside where my mom was standing in front of the TV with the remote turning the volume up. It was the local news. There was a picture of Tracy and the text above it read, "McDade woman's body found." It cut to the news anchor and she went on to say something along the lines of Bastrop County Sheriff's deputies have recovered the remains of Tracy Lynn Bellard from a burn pile. Oh my God.
Oh my
That's
God.
horrific.
Oh, that's so much worse.
Authorities have taken 2 suspects into custody. My stomach sank all the way to the floor. In the coming days, more came out about the murder, and it was devastating. Tracy's daughter, Haley, had been dating an older guy. She was 14, and he was about 18 or 19. Tracy, apparently, as she should have been, was outspokenly against the relationship. She had caught him in Haley's room in the middle of the night and called the police. Another time, Haley was at her Aunt Wendy's house and he showed up there, and she called the cops on him. He was facing several charges, including harboring a runaway, indecency with a child, and criminal trespass in regards to seeing the minor girl, but none of these seemed to stop him. Tracy was last seen on the night of August 11th when she brought Yolanda the closing cash deposit for Mimi G's. It was very unlike Tracy to miss the shift at the restaurant and extremely out of character for her to not tell anyone in her family she wasn't going to make it in to cover her shift. Wendy, Tracy's sister, reported her missing when she didn't pick up numerous calls, and she was a no-show Friday, August 14th. A family friend went to check her house and said he saw Tracy's car pass him, but someone else was driving and Tracy's daughter was in the passenger seat.
Oh my God, this hurts my whole
It really
heart.
does. Investigators suspected foul play. Things intensified when they found Tracy's car on the boyfriend's property. Upon a full search of the 5-acre property owned by Joseph Wayne Douglas, the 18-year-old boyfriend, grandparents' house, investigators found a burn pile that contained charred human remains. The remains were later positively identified to be 42-year-old Tracy Lynn Bellard. They immediately took Haley and Joseph in to custody for questioning, and both were charged with first-degree murder. An arrest affidavit.
What the fuck, Haley?
I know, your own fucking mom. Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
I don't care how bad your mom is, and your mom sounded like she was fucking great.
Yeah, and no human is worth that.
No, nothing
What
is
the
worth
fuck?
that. An arrest affidavit for Joseph said that Tracy had found him in her home with her daughter again, and she went to call the authorities. Joseph and Haley assaulted Tracy and eventually tied her to a chair.
Oh my God, that's her mother.
Joseph then called his 13-year-old brother and had him bring in a .22 caliber rifle to Tracy's home. The drive took around 30 to 40 minutes. I can't even begin to fathom what was going on in Tracy's mind as she sat bound and beaten, knowing a gun was on its way. This breaks my fucking heart.
Oh my God.
When the 13-year-old arrived with the .22 caliber rifle in front of his brother and Haley, Joseph held the rifle up to Tracy's head and pulled the trigger. In a single moment,
Holy
he
shit.
took away a bright and loving friend, daughter, and sister. Joseph and Haley put Tracy's dead body in the trunk of her own car. They proceeded to drive around town for 2 days with her in the trunk, as if nothing had happened.
That is so beyond
You're like a
cold.
straight up sociopath if you can drive around with your dead mom in your backseat.
You're a demon. You're a straight up demon.
They threw her onto a burn pile on Joseph's grandparents' land. Haley Ballard was tried as an adult for her part in the murder, of her mother.
Good,
She
yeah.
pled guilty and was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
Are you fucking serious?
I think she should have received life, but our system is fucked.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Joseph Wayne Douglas pled guilty for the murder and was sentenced to 35 years.
Jesus Christ.
Ridiculous.
What the fuck? They killed a human being.
And then drove around
Purposefully.
for 2 days and then burned the human being. That's fucked.
And it seems like that's like malice aforethought. It's like you called somebody that took 40 minutes to bring a gun. You could have stopped that at any time. Both of
you
you.
just probably sat there. So 35-year prison sentence for Joseph. I'm not a huge supporter of the death penalty, especially because of cases like Rodney Reed. But in a cut and dry case, without a doubt, someone has taken the sweet life of an innocent mother who is trying to protect her daughter. I say we should warm up old Sparky. I agree.
This is why
It's a gray area.
I've said it a million times that I sit in the gray area.
100%.
And honestly, Allie just described it
Exactly.
perfectly.
So yeah, this was my story about a dear murdered friend who helped me come into loving who I am. She was truly amazing and I will never forget her. Thanks for listening to my story and sharing it with the morbid world of awesome weirdos. I just adore you gals so fucking much, and I'm generally
Oh.
right there with you in regards to not trusting anyone, because they're probably a murderer. But I'm not one to
Yes.
know, I'm not one. Oh, but I'm not one, and know we'd be fast and fabulous friends. Y'all need to do a live show in
Yes.
Austin sometime, and we should go catch an awesome drag show together while y'all are in town. So much love to y'all, Allie Reese.
Oh my
Wasn't that amazing?
God. Allie Reese, that was amazing. And I really want to do a show in Austin.
Okay,
actually.
Austin is, well, their whole motto
It's
is
really
keep
on our
Austin
list.
weird.
Yeah, I think it's
Like,
perfect.
hi,
for
okay,
us.
we will.
Yeah. And also, just to like plug Allie, because why
He sent
not?
his
That was a
website,
great
yeah.
story. Yeah. The website is alliereese.com, and it's ALLIREECE.com.
I love that. I tried to open it just now, but I feel like my iPad
Because
is
he's
doing
also
too
a
much.
singer-songwriter. I was just looking at the
And
website.
he's fucking
And he has
adorable.
an awesome website. And he's beautiful. And just go support
We
Allie. 'cause
love
that was an
Allie.
amazing
We
story.
stan Allie.
And I'm so sorry that you lost your
I
friend.
know, I can't even imagine. That's awful.
That just makes me
But I'm
sad.
happy that Tracy was able to do what she did for Allie.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving on to...
May we never exude perfection. At least we would know we would survive.